Hey everyone, welcome back to Next Chapter Audio, where we talk about the books everyone's buzzing about, break down the hype, and figure out what's actually worth your time. Today's pick is one of those releases that feels like an event before you even open the first page, because the names on the cover alone are enough to spark debate. We're talking about Gone Before Goodbye by Harlan Coben and Reese Witherspoon, a rare, high-profile collaboration between one of the biggest masters of suspense and one of the most powerful forces in modern book-to-screen storytelling. And when a book like this drops, you already know what the conversation is going to be. Is it genuinely good, or is it famous because it's famous? Is it hype, or is it substance? Is it a thriller you'll stay up all night reading, or a book that feels more like a future movie pitch? And honestly, that's exactly why this one is trending so hard. Because the celebrity co-author factor turns it into a must-discuss release. Even people who don't read thrillers regularly are curious, because it's got that built-in headline energy. So today, we're doing the classic question: is it worth the hype? Gone Before Goodbye is a fast-paced thriller centered on a combat surgeon who suddenly finds herself caught in something far bigger than she ever signed up for. A global conspiracy with high-stakes, constant danger, and the kind of momentum that makes every chapter feel like a ticking clock. And right away, you can feel the intention behind the story. This is not a quiet, slow-burn mystery. This is a sprint. It's the kind of thriller that wants you reading with your heart rate slightly elevated, like you can feel the pressure behind every decision. Now, Harlan Coben's name carries a very specific expectation. He's known for page-turners that move fast, keep the tension tight, and deliver that steady stream of wait what? Moments that make you promise yourself you'll stop after the next chapter. And then you don't. And Reese Witherspoon, at this point, is basically a brand in herself when it comes to thrillers and book adaptations. Her taste has shaped so much of what readers pick up, what gets made into series, and what becomes a cultural conversation. So when her name is attached, especially as a co-author, it immediately signals something. This isn't just a book. This is likely a project, a big one. And the interesting thing is, Gone Before Goodbye reads like it knows that. It feels cinematic from the start. Not in a bad way, in a very deliberate way. The scenes are built with motion. You can picture the locations. You can see the urgency. You can feel how easily this could turn into a series where every episode ends on a cliffhanger. The main character being a combat surgeon is such a smart choice for a thriller like this, because it immediately gives you competence. It gives you someone who has worked under pressure. Someone trained to stay calm when everything around them is chaos. It gives you a protagonist who doesn't fold instantly at danger, which is important in a globe-spanning conspiracy story. Nobody wants to follow a character who spends the whole book frozen in disbelief when the story is clearly going for high-speed action. A combat surgeon as the lead means we get a character who has already seen the worst of humanity, someone who understands stakes. Someone who's faced death and crisis and split-second decisions. And that background changes the feel of the tension. The fear isn't, I can't handle this. The fear becomes even, I can't handle this. That's when a thriller gets exciting. Because if a trained, experienced person is rattled, then you as the reader feel like the danger must be real. What makes Gone Before Goodbye especially readable is that it doesn't waste time. You're not waiting around for 50 pages of setup before things get interesting. It establishes the character, the tone, the sense of looming threat, and then it moves. And when it moves, it keeps moving. The pacing is very much built for fans of fast thrillers, the kind where you re-flipping pages quickly. Not because the writing is simple, but because the story is designed to be consumed at speed. And I'll be honest, there is something deeply satisfying about a thriller that commits to being a thriller. No unnecessary detours. No long pauses where the plot forgets what it's supposed to be doing. It's focused, it's sharp. It's built around momentum. Now, let's talk about the conspiracy element. Because global conspiracy can go in a lot of directions. Some books make conspiracies feel ridiculous and overcomplicated, like the author is stacking twists for the sake of stacking twists. But the best conspiracy thrillers do one thing really well. They make you feel the scale without making you feel lost. Gone Before Goodbye walks that line pretty well. It expands outward. It raises the stakes, it adds layers, but it keeps the emotional experience grounded in the main character's perspective. So even when the plot gets bigger, you don't feel like you're reading a Wikipedia page about secret organizations. You feel like you're in motion with her, trying to survive one step at a time. That's the trick. Because the moment a conspiracy thriller becomes too abstract, it stops being scary. It becomes intellectual, but what makes them thrilling is when the danger feels immediate, like a phone call could ruin your life, like one wrong move could expose you, like you can't trust the person standing next to you. This book understands that. It also plays with one of the most addictive thriller ingredients, the idea that someone normal, or at least someone with a normal life outside their job, gets pulled into something that docent feels survivable. Because when you're watching someone fall into a conspiracy, the tension isn't only about danger. It's about isolation. It's about the moment you realize you can't explain what's happening to anyone, because the second you do, you sound insane. It's about the moment you realize the people who should help you might be part of the problem. And once that trust collapses, the story becomes a trap. That's when readers get hooked. Now, let's talk about the collaboration itself. Whenever you see a book with a major author and a celebrity co-author, people are naturally skeptical. And honestly, that skepticism is fair. Because sometimes, celebrity collaborations feel like a marketing move more than a literary move. But in this case, the collaboration makes sense, because Reese Witherspoon's strength in storytelling has always been her instinct for what works as a gripping, screen-friendly narrative. She knows pacing. She knows tension. She knows how to hook an audience quickly and keep them invested. And Harlan Coben knows suspense. So the blend here feels like blockbuster energy plus thriller expertise, which is exactly what you'd expect from a book that's basically designed to dominate bestseller lists and spark adaptation conversations. You can feel that big, polished, high-stakes tone throughout. It feels like a thriller written with the confidence of people who know the audience is going to show up. So, is that a good thing? For a lot of readers, yes. Because Gone Before Goodbye isn't trying to be subtle. It's trying to entertain you. It's trying to give you an intense ride. It's trying to make you binge it. And if you go into it wanting that, you're going to have a great time. But if you go into it looking for something quiet and literary, something deeply introspective, something that lingers in character psychology more than plot momentum, this might not be your flavor. This is a commercial thriller. Proudly, it wants to be a page-turner, not a slow contemplation. And that's where the hype question becomes personal. Because hype depends on what you're in the mood for. If you want a thriller that feels like a Netflix limited series in book form, yes, it's worth it. If you want action, conspiracy, danger, competence, and that I can't stop reading pace, yes, it's worth it. If you want subtle emotional depth above all else, you might find it leans more into plot than into deep character study. Now, let's get into what works best. The pacing is the biggest strength. It's tight and fast. Even chapters that could have slowed down are written in a way that keeps you moving. The premise is also strong. Combat surgeon caught in a global conspiracy is a great setup because it gives immediate stakes and a protagonist who can realistically navigate extreme situations. The tone is very accessible. You don't need to be a hardcore thriller reader to enjoy this. It's written in a way that welcomes casual readers, which is part of why it's trending so widely, and the tension is consistent. It doesn't fade in the middle the way some thrillers do. It keeps escalating. It keeps layering. It keeps pressing forward. Now, what might not work for everyone? Some readers might feel the cinematic style makes it feel more like a screenplay than a novel at times. Very scene-driven, very plot-forward, very what happens next focused. And if you're someone who likes slow-building dread, you might feel like the book moves so fast that it doesn't always pause long enough for the fear to sink in deeply. Also, because it's a high-profile collaboration, some readers are going to come into it with a critical mindset already, looking for whether it feels authentic as a co-written book. And while the story works, you may still feel the presence of a polished, big-brand thriller machine behind it, which can either be a plus or a minus, depending on your taste. For me, I think the book succeeds at what it's trying to be. It's not pretending to be something it's not. It's a fast-paced, high-stakes thriller designed to grip a massive audience. And it does. So here's my final verdict. Gone Before Goodbye is absolutely a hype-worthy read if you love thrillers that move fast, feel cinematic, and keep the stakes high. It's the kind of book you'll fly through, the kind of book you'll recommend to someone who wants something intense, and the kind of book you can easily imagine getting adapted into a glossy, bingeable series. The celebrity collaboration is a big reason it's trending. Yes, but the story itself delivers enough momentum and suspense to justify the attention. So if you've been seeing it everywhere and wondering, okay, but is it actually worth picking up? If you're in the mood for a thriller that feels like an action-packed conspiracy ride with a strong, capable protagonist at the center, then yes, it's worth the hype. And that's it for today's review on Next Chapter Audio. And let me know in the comments, do celebrity co-author books make you more curious or more skeptical? And if you've read Gone Before Goodbye already, did it surprise you? Or did it feel exactly like what you expected? Until next time, happy reading, and I'll see you in the next chapter.